Imagine being so rich that when you give away money, you accidentally damage an entire economy, not by buying a company, not by crashing the stock market, not by launching a rocket, but by handing out so much gold that the value of gold itself begins to fall. That actually happened. Over 700 years ago, one king traveled across the desert with thousands of people, camels loaded with gold, and a level of wealth so insane that historians still argue about how rich he really was. His name was Mansa Musa, and many people believe he was the richest human being to ever live. But today, the richest person alive is Elon Musk, a man connected to electric cars, rockets, satellites, artificial intelligence, tunnels, and some of the most valuable companies on Earth. So here's the question. Who was actually richer, the richest man today or the richest man in history? And if they somehow met face to face, who would look more powerful? Let's find out. First, we have to understand modern wealth. When people say Elon Musk is worth hundreds of billions of dollars, that does not mean he has hundreds of billions sitting in a checking account. He is not walking around with a debit card that can casually buy countries. Most of his wealth is tied to ownership, shares of companies, Tesla, SpaceX, XAI, and other businesses connected to technology, transportation, and the future. That means his net worth can rise or fall by billions in a single day. If Tesla stock goes up, he can become richer while sleeping. If the market crashes, he can lose more money in one afternoon than most people will ever see in their entire life. That is what modern billionaire wealth is. It is not just cash, it is ownership of systems, factories, software, rockets, brands, data, technology, influence. Elon Musk's wealth is modern because it is built on the future. Electric cars, reusable rockets, satellites in space, artificial intelligence. The idea that one person can own pieces of companies that shape how millions or even billions of people live. But Mansa Musa's wealth was different. His wealth was not tied to stock prices. It did not depend on investors. It did not disappear because of a bad earnings report. Mansa Musa ruled the Mali Empire in West Africa during the 1300s. And at the time, Mali sat on something the entire world wanted. Gold. Lots of it. In the modern world, wealth can be numbers on a screen, but in Mansa Musa's world, wealth was physical. Gold you could hold, gold you could trade, gold you could carry across the desert, gold that kings, merchants, and empires all wanted. Mali also controlled important trade routes across the Sahara Desert. Gold moved through Mali, salt moved through Mali, ivory moved through Mali. Merchants, scholars, and travelers passed through its cities, and Mansa Musa was not just a rich man inside the empire, he was the ruler of the empire. That matters, because when we compare Mansa Musa to Elon Musk, we are not just comparing two bank accounts, we are comparing two totally different kinds of power. Elon Musk owns companies. Mansa Musa ruled land, people, trade routes, cities, and natural resources. Musk's wealth is measured by financial markets. Mansa Musa's wealth was measured by the fact that he controlled one of the richest regions in the medieval world. But the moment that made Mansa Musa legendary was not a battle, it was not a conquest, it was not a palace, it was a trip. In 1324, Mansa Musa went on a pilgrimage to Mecca, and this was not just a simple religious journey. This was one of the greatest displays of wealth the world had ever seen. Imagine a caravan stretching across the desert. Thousands of people, soldiers, servants, officials, merchants, camels, horses, silks, food, and gold. So much gold that everywhere he went, people talked about it. This was not just travel, this was a walking empire. And when Mansa Musa reached Cairo, he gave away gold so freely that people were stunned. He gave gifts, he spent money, he supported the poor, he impressed rulers, and he showed the world that Mali was not some unknown kingdom hidden in West Africa. It was a global power. But there was one problem. He gave away so much gold that the value of gold in Cairo reportedly dropped. Think about how crazy that is. Today, if a billionaire gives away money, people call it charity. When Mansa Musa gave away money, the economy felt it. That is what makes his story almost impossible to compare to modern wealth. Elon Musk can move stock prices. Mansa Musa could move the value of gold. But let's make this even more interesting. What could each man actually buy? If Elon Musk wanted to, he could buy private islands, mansions, jets, companies, sports teams, huge amounts of land. He could fund rocket launches. He could build factories. He could create new technologies. He could hire thousands of engineers. He could start projects that governments would struggle to fund. Modern wealth gives you access to speed and technology. A billionaire today can send satellites into space, build artificial intelligence labs, buy media platforms, influence public conversations, and shape entire industries. That is an insane level of power. But could Elon Musk walk into a major city, give away part of his fortune in one visit, and damage the value of the money itself? Probably not, because modern economies are too big, too complex, and too digital. Even the richest person today is still operating inside a massive global financial system. Banks, governments, regulations, markets, investors, taxes, currency laws. A modern billionaire is powerful, but still trapped inside the rules of the modern economy. Mansa Musa was different. He was not just rich inside a system. In many ways, he was the system. His empire controlled the source of the wealth. He was not just buying gold. He ruled the land where gold came from. That is like if the richest person today did not just own a car company, but also controlled the world's most important oil fields, gold mines, trade routes, and shipping lanes all at once. Now, let's talk numbers. Some people online try to estimate Mansa Musa's wealth in today's money. You might see numbers like $400 billion, $500 billion, even more. But the truth is, nobody can calculate it perfectly, and anyone pretending they know the exact number is probably guessing. Because how do you compare a medieval emperor's control over gold, land, trade, armies, and labor to a modern billionaire's stock portfolio? You can't do it cleanly. It is like asking what is worth more, $1 trillion in a bank account, or control over the only source of money in the world. That is why this comparison is so interesting. Because Elon Musk might have the clearer number, but Mansa Musa had the kind of wealth that almost breaks the idea of numbers. So, instead of asking only who had more money, we should ask a better question. Who had more control? Elon Musk has influence over industries that define the future: electric vehicles, space travel, satellites, artificial intelligence, social media. That is real power. When he makes a business decision, investors watch. When he posts online, markets can react. When one of his companies announces something major, entire industries pay attention. But Mansa Musa had a different kind of control. He ruled an empire at a time when kings were not just celebrities or executives. They were the government, they were the military, they were the law, they controlled trade, they decided where wealth went, and when Mansa Musa traveled, he was not representing a company. He was representing a civilization. He used his wealth to build mosques, support education, strengthen cities like Timbuktu, bring scholars and architects into Mali, and turn his empire into a center of culture, religion, learning, and trade. That is another major difference. Modern billionaires often build companies. Mansa Musa helped build a legacy. Now picture this: Elon Musk and Mansa Musa are standing in the same room. On one side, you have the modern billionaire, a man whose wealth is connected to rockets, electric cars, satellites, and technology that feels like science fiction. On the other side, you have the medieval emperor, a ruler dressed in gold, backed by an empire, with caravans crossing deserts and cities growing under his command. Elon Musk could say, "I can launch a rocket into space." Mansa Musa could say, "I can make gold cheaper by giving too much of it away." Elon could say, "My companies are worth hundreds of billions." Mansa Musa could say, "My empire controls the gold your money used to be based on." Elon could say, "I help shape the future." Mansa Musa could say, "I shaped the world before your future existed." So who wins? If we are talking about the richest person alive today, Elon Musk wins. His fortune is measurable. It is tracked in real time. It rises and falls with the market. And by modern standards, it is one of the largest personal fortunes ever recorded. But if we are talking about the richest human ever, Mansa Musa may still be in a league of his own, not because we can prove an exact dollar amount, but because his wealth was so large, so physical, and so tied to the global gold supply that his spending became history. Most billionaires are remembered for companies. Mansa Musa is remembered because His generosity changed economies, and maybe that is the biggest difference between them. Elon Musk's wealth shows the power of the modern world, a world where money is digital, where value comes from companies, code, factories, markets, and investors. Mansa Musa's wealth shows the power of the ancient world, a world where wealth came from land, gold, trade, armies, and empire. One man represents the future, the other represents a time when gold was everything. So the final answer is this: Elon Musk is the richest human today, but Mansa Musa may have been the richest human ever, because there is rich, there is billionaire rich, and then there is accidentally crash the price of gold rich. And that is a level of wealth the modern world may never see again. So, who do you think was truly richer? The billionaire who can launch rockets into space, or the king who gave away so much gold that an economy felt it for years? Comment your answer below, and if you want more videos comparing the most powerful people in history to the richest people alive today, make sure to subscribe.